Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Should I leave a like, comment below, know your thoughts on Friday Night SmackDown, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, a lot of people were not a fan of this episode of SmackDown, and, you know, I can see where they are coming from. There's a lot of decisions that were made on this episode of SmackDown that just really felt like, are we even trying, guys? But there are some things that I did enjoy about it. I think I liked it more than most. Now, again, I am not here to say this was a good episode of SmackDown. And in fact, I think this is on, you know, one of the lesser sides when it comes to the show. I think there is a serious lack of a strong babyface on the show. Like, if John Cena can't make it, which he has limited dates on, then Cody has to be on it. And I get why we had to sell Cody being hurt. And if Cody and Cena can't be on the show, then get Randy Orton on. Just someone. And I don't know if maybe Sami Zayn was the answer to that, since LA Knight is now officially on Raw, apparently. Because maybe an LA Knight could have been that guy as well. But yeah, there was just a serious lack of, you know, that guy, of that good guy that we all cling on to really get us through the episode. Hell, even a Damian Priest probably could have filled that spot a little bit too. I would say he probably still has a little bit more work to do before he can be that guy where we go, Damian! But he's almost there. But yeah, the fact that Cody wasn't on and the fact that Cena was on, which is the big two, and I would say Orton as well would be third behind that. I think there was a real sense of lack of star power when it comes to it. But again, there were some things that I enjoyed. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of the Carmelo Hayes and the Miz storyline because we kind of moved on from it, and then we're now going back to it now that the Miz is done with his outside WWE commitments. But I think it's going according to plan. I think the plan of this group all along, even before the break, if you will, was to turn Carmelo Hayes face. Now, again, there was just some things that we could have done before this, and power of the hindsight is really strong factor, right? But, you know, if Carmelo Hayes was going on a losing streak, which I do think he was. I think he win. I don't think he has gotten a win in a few months. If he went on a losing streak and he was like, hey, I'm trying to get into the U.S. title picture, but he's on a losing streak, then here comes The Miz, and then they get this win against Fraxium, which to me was a very fun match. I like what we're doing with the Wyatts as well. I think some people said it was redundant of what the Wyatts are doing. To me, I just think it's showing that, hey, we are scouting, and this is how we scout, because, you know, they were in the crowd for the Miz, for the Mellow Miz versus Fraxium match. They were in the background when the MFTs and the Street Profits were talking, and then it was Joe Gacy, or was it Eric Rowan in the background at that? But anyway, it was Dexter Loomis who was in the background. You could see it, like it briefly behind the Motor City Machine Guns when Mellow Miz and Motor City Machine Guns had a falling out as well. So I do like that aspect of it. And again, what the whole storyline is, Miz, I'm going to start the match because we're in Boston, even though you have all of this energy to do it. Okay, then I'm going to go out and you're going to basically do all of the heavy lifting. He's going to get the crowd on his side, and then I'm going to come in and sneak it. Miz knows how to get someone over. There's a reason why when there is a celebrity, he is usually the one that they go to first to get them over. He knows what he is doing. He is a Hall of Famer. I know a lot of people don't like it when people say that, but he is. He genuinely is. And then, you know, they have the falling out over there. It was like, dude, I don't, fine. You know, I'm starting to get these wins. The more he gets to trust him, maybe Mello does get that U.S. title shot. Maybe he wins. And then Miz turns on him with that. Again, I'm all, that I could be okay with. It's just, again, with how he got there is what I think is falling flat to the audience. But with me, I think I understand where we are going. If that is the end goal, is that, look, this partnership is not going to last long. Well, now it's not going to last much longer, I should say. But if the job of this partnership is to turn Carmelo Hayes face, then I think we are doing a great job in doing that. The other thing that I really liked about this was Kiana James in this episode. I like how she's kind of being, the female MVP in a lot of ways, where she's just giving out her business cards saying, hey, we can make a deal here. Let me sell you this, let me sell you that. She tried with Jay, she tried with Tiffany. Yeah, those two didn't work out, but I can see at some point someone's going to take that on. Maybe a Nia Jax takes that opportunity, and she builds up this little stable. Now the thing is, Kiana James can go in the ring, but I am all for her being this mouthpiece for a little bit. I said this, and this isn't really fair because I was actually a real fan of Sonya Deville, but it looks like she could be the Sonya Deville that WWE wanted her to be. For some reason, it just didn't work out with her. Again, I'm a huge fan of Sonya's, but there's a potential here with Kiana James with what we're doing. What I don't like with the women's division right now is that, Julia wasn't on this episode of SmackDown either. Even if Kiana James is doing the talking, I think Julia should have been there at least. And we're teasing Julia versus Tiffany Stratton, even though Julia already has the U.S. title. Granted, here comes Michin, so at least we're making somewhat of an attempt at making a mid-card title feud, but it's not great. And then, Tiffany and Jade having an argument backstage, which I think that it should have been in the ring, if anything. That's fine. I could do Jade versus Tiffany round 2. But then when Nia Jax showed up, I was like, oh my God. I was just really, really frightened. I was like, why? Do we not have anyone else? Are we missing Bianca Belair that much? That there's literally no one else minus Jade Cargill that we have to throw in Nia Jax again? Which, again, if Nia Jax does take on Kiana James, then I guess I can somewhat understand it, but I just don't need Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax again, which does look like that is what we are going to do, which, again, I just don't need. I just did not need at all. The other things I did not like about this episode of SmackDown, however, because we kind of got past through all the positive besides one more thing, but we'll probably save that for the end, is the bloodline stuff, MFTs, whatever you want to call them. It is the same thing over and over and over again. They come out, they make a talk, here comes Sami Zayn, and then here comes Jimmy Uso again. Like, Jimmy, go do something else. Like, if there is to be a draft, which I don't think there will be. I think at this point, now that people are jumping to different brands and you're making it known, I don't know if we're going to... I would have liked if we would have made like a trade portal, if you will, and it ends in, September, or it ends in October. It's the trade portal, which is why people are moving around. And then, that's how we get an LA Knight. It's officially on Monday Night Raw. Sami Zayn is on Friday Night SmackDown. Jimmy Uso needs to jump, man. He has been doing the same thing over and over again. And then, they had the falling out. It looks like we're going to do Solo versus Sami at Clash in Paris. Here comes Jacob Fatu. Again, we rehash some other old stuff. Jacob doesn't trust Sami. Then at the end of the night, he does. Because then we have this 6-man tag match. And again, it's the same stuff over and over again. Again, the matches are fine. The matches are fine. But I also said this on my Raw review. Like, I honestly don't really care for matches that much anymore because I just know there's not going to be... integrity is too strong of a word. But, there's always going to be someone who comes in to interfere a little bit. And I'm no longer going to really complain about that anymore. I guess I am in a way. But, it's like... AEW, they have their party matches. I'm not a fan of those, but I can't keep complaining about it because that is what they do. That is within their DNA. It's just one of the things that's going to happen on a Dynamite or a Collision. Learn to accept that. Again, not my cup of tea, but it is what it is, and the matches are fun for what they are. WWE has really kind of made it clear within their DNA, distractions, interference, and all that is their type of party matches. It's just... that is within their DNA. That's what they're going to do. They're using SmackDown Raw to build up these PLEs. As long as the PLEs stay with, again, integrity is too strong of a word, but there's winners and losers, then, I'll learn to deal and I'll learn to accept it. It just won't be my cup of tea. But, the 6-man tag, they really didn't add any, value to whatever, besides we just did it again. Sammy's going to pin Solo Sikoa, and we're going to do Sammy versus Solo in Paris, but now Sammy and Jacob are fine. So there was some development, but there was no different impact from me watching that or just scrolling it on my phone and seeing the clip or, reading the results on a website. And again, it was just very, very redundant. The only other saving grace of this episode of SmackDown was at least the women's tag titles are being featured. We had Piper Niven versus Alexa Bliss. Fine match for what it was. But again, like I said, can't really fully invest in it because some shenanigans, some fuckery is going to happen through it. And then the Drew McIntyre promo was really, really good. He just really has this way of going, I didn't attack him. Like, well, what do you mean? And then the way he's explained goes, well, you didn't strike first. No, you're absolutely right there. That promo was really, really good. But the thing is, he's a heel. We need that good guy where we go, yay! So yeah, again, on a lot of things with this episode of SmackDown, there are some bright spots. Okay, I know a lot of people are frustrated with Carmelo and the Miz storyline. I can kind of see where it's going, so therefore I'm willing to accept it, and I am willing to go on the ride because I am enjoying the journey that we are taking it on. It's just a shame that we had to have a break in the middle. And then Kiana James, I like the character development that we're doing with her, but man, these women's singles titles, we need to put in some work in. Women's tag titles, at least they're being featured, which, is a big strong suit. Drew McIntyre, strong point. Matches, fine for what they are, but again, I just can't fully invest in them anymore with with how the DNA of WWE matches go. I'll just be pleasantly surprised when we do get a finish, and we'll celebrate that here. But overall, again, this was a fine episode of SmackDown. Again, I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than others. I think it was during the Fraxium versus the Melodome Miz match. I was like, okay, I think we're really starting to find our footing. Is this one of the worst episodes of SmackDown? No, I don't think it was. Do I think this is one of the best episodes of SmackDown? No, but if there was 4 tiers, I think this is lower tier 2. It's almost a tier 3 where we go, yeah, not the greatest episode. It's just not memorable whatsoever. There's just no difference into what happened last week and this week. Truly, this was just in the middle for what it is. I don't know what is going on with them because I think SummerSlam, they started to try again. That build for a little bit, we started to try. I don't know if it was ticket sales or whatever, and I don't know if Clash in Paris is already sold out. And I am by no means being someone who is complaining that, ticket sales are hurting the wrestling business. No, they're in this boom period. Whether you want to admit it or not, they're doing great. I mean, the arenas are almost sold out all the way through. But I don't know if that, since the buildings are already full, WWE then thinks they don't really have to try as hard because, hey, we already got the building, so we don't really need to build that much because the people are going to show up anyway. It's a great position to be in. But as a viewer who's watching these Raws and SmackDowns, especially after, we saw the effort they can put in when Triple H first took over, which, it turns out he was on vacation, so he wasn't at Gorilla. And, maybe that is an indicator of some of the quality that we saw on screen. But, it just seems like, hey, we got the building already. Let's just get through the night just because we have to. And then once we actually get to Paris, which, it's going to be some great crowds, then, we could do what we actually want to set out to do. But yeah, again, episode SmackDown was fine. Just wasn't anything memorable, and I think I liked it more than others. But what did y'all think about it down in the comment section? Leave a like if you made it this far within the review. I do greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.